Hi, welcome to adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. So this is stuff we've done before, we just haven't done it in this format or this elaborately. So when you're adding polynomials, you literally add together like terms, only like terms, and you've dealt with this before. And there are really two ways to write this. You can either do all of these vertically, or you can do all of these horizontally, and I'll show you examples of every single kind. So first we're going to add these things vertically. So we're adding 2x cubed plus x squared minus 3x plus 4, and x cubed plus 7x squared minus 2. So we need x cubed here, 7x squared here, but the minus 2 doesn't go with the x because it doesn't have an x, it goes with a 4. And we combine down. So 2x cubes plus x cubes, we have 3x cubed. 7 plus 1 is 8x squared. There's nothing to add x's to, so we still have negative 3x's. And then we have 4 minus 2, which is 2. And that's our answer. So hopefully not too bad. You can also add them horizontally. So that was vertically. This is horizontally. So when you add them horizontally, you put them in parentheses. And we're adding y squared minus 6y plus 9. And then you combine like terms. So this is when I would advise you to circle and use different colors if you need to, so that you know which ones are like terms. So you have negative 4y cubed. That's the only y cubed. Then we have our y squares. So I'm going to box my y squares. We have 2 and 1, which is 3. Then we have our y's, so we can circle those. So we have negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7y's. Then we have our numbers. So we have a 2 and a 9, which is 11. And there we go. That's our answer. So we're also subtracting. Now when you're subtracting this from this, which means that the one that you're subtracting from, okay, when it says subtract this from that, you put this right here in the bottom. Okay, so if I'm doing this vertically, I'll line them up with like terms. So we have our 5x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 1. And then we have our, we're subtracting, so we need that negative. Then we have our 3x cubed plus 5x squared minus x plus 8. Now the key to this is to make sure that whenever you do this, you remember that because there's a negative, we have to distribute. Okay, so all of those signs are going to change. So we still have the original on top. But we change the signs on the other, so we have negative 3x cubed minus 5x squared plus x minus 8. And then we can combine like we would if we were adding. So we have 5 minus 3 is 2. Negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. And negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And 1 minus 8 is negative 7. So that's our answer. Now if you do this horizontally, then again, this goes first. So we have 7z squared minus 4z minus, and I'll put these all in parentheses, 5z squared minus z plus 3. And you have to distribute. So we have 7z squared minus 4z, just like before, and then we have minus z, 5z squared plus z minus 3. And then we can combine our like terms. So let's circle our squares. So we have 7 minus 5 is 2z squares. Then we have our just z's. So we have negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. And then we're left with a negative 3, so minus 3. And there's your answer. Now we've multiplied polynomials before. We just haven't done it necessarily like this. I think I normally just teach you to combine both ways, but we're just going to do vertical and then horizontal. And remember, this is basically double distribution. Okay, so we're multiplying this first one by this. When you do it vertically, you set them up on top of each other. So we have the top, and then our x minus 2. So it's just like regular long multiplication, where you multiply on the right first, and you line them up underneath, and then you multiply by the left number, and then you line them up underneath. So we need to multiply everything on top by negative 2. So you have negative 2 times 5, which is negative 10. We have negative 2 times negative 3x is positive 6x. We have negative 2 times 2x squared, which is negative 4x squared. Then we need to distribute the x. So we have 5 times x, and we're lining them up underneath their like term so that then we can combine down. So we have 5 times x is 5x, underneath that 6x, and that's a positive 5x. We have x times negative 3x, which is negative 3x squared. And then we have x times 2x squared going this way, and that gives us 2x cubed. We draw a line and we combine down. So we have 2x cubed, we have negative 7x squares, 11x's, and negative 10. So that gives us our final answer there. Now, what we're doing horizontally is what I'm used to showing you, like it's what we normally do. So we have y plus 8 times 2y squared minus 4y plus 3. And we're double distributing. So we have y times 2y squared gives us 2y cubed. Y times negative 4y gives us negative 4y squared. Y times 3 gives us 3y. Then we distribute the 8. So we have 8 times 2y squared is 16y squared. 8 times negative 4y is negative 32y. And then the last one, 8 times 3, is simply 24. Then we do our circles and our boxes to combine our like terms. So we have a y cubed, so we have 2y cubes. Let's circle our y squares, which are here and here. So we have 16 and negative 4 is positive 12y squared. Then we can, I guess, box our y's again. Just make sure you're only looking at those, or color coordinate. And we get negative 29y. And then we're just left with that 24. Okay? So what if you have 3 binomials? Well, then you have to do 2 for the first time and then 2 the second time. So in other words, if we have this, we want to write it as x plus 2, x minus 1, x minus 3. Well, let's double distribute just those first 2 first. So we have x times x is x squared, x times negative 1 is negative x, 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And that's still being multiplied by x minus 3. So we need to combine these like terms that are in the middle, and we get x squared plus x minus 2. Okay, but we're used to seeing it the other way around, and with multiplication it's commutative, which means that you can swap back and forth. So I'm going to put the x minus 3 out front. Okay, and then we're back where we started with the last problem that we just did. So we're distributing. We get x cubed, x times x is x squared, x times negative 2 is negative 2x, negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared, negative 3 times x is negative 3x, and negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. We combine our like terms, so we have x cubed here, so we get x cubed. We have our x squares that we put together, and that gives us negative 2x squared. We have we have x's, so we have negative 2x minus 3x is negative 5x. And then our lonely number, that's all by its lonesome, the 6. And that's what you get. So that's our final answer. Now if you look at this chart on the bottom, write it down, because you have to remember that if you have a plus b in parentheses squared, like you do over here, it is not a squared plus b squared. Okay, that is not how it works. You actually have to distribute, just like we just did with the three binomials. Okay, and these are just special cases that you can use if you need to, or if you come up with them. But there's one special case that we really need to go over, and that is Pascal's triangle. So if you have a binomial and you're multiplying it by itself multiple times, then there's a pattern that it follows, and we need to use that pattern to our advantage. So this is the pattern: 1 1 1 1 1 2 1 1 3 3 1 1 4 6 4 1 1 5 10 10 5 1. And these work every single time, and what they're doing is they're taking those numbers and adding them together to get the middle ones. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 1 is 3, 1 plus 3 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 3 plus 1 is 4. It just always starts with a 1 and ends with a 1. Now whenever we're doing this, we get these formulas. And as you go along in the line, the a exponent gets smaller, and the b exponent gets bigger. Okay, and that's just the pattern, and that's what happens whenever if you were to multiply these out the long way, that's what you would get. So we use these so that we don't have to multiply them out the long way. We just have the shortened binomial expansion using the little trick. So let's use the little trick on example 5. We have a fourth power here, so we need to look at this fourth row. So we are looking right here. That's our formula. That's what we're plugging into, where a is the first part of the problem, so it's just the x, and the b is the -3, and that does always include that sign, whatever sign is there. So we get that x minus 3 to the fourth power is using those numbers. So we have the 1, right? And then we have a cubed. Well, a is x, so we have x cubed. Then we have a 4. Our a is, I'm sorry, that's not a 3, that's a 4. I was looking at the wrong one, which is what you shouldn't do. So we have x cubed, and then our b, which was the -3. Then we have a 6, and our a squared, so we have x squared, and b squared, so we have -3 squared. A 4 again, with an a, which is x, and b, which is, I'm sorry, -3 to the third power. And then the last one is our 1, so plus 1, and b, which is -3 to the fourth power. Okay, so we wrote it all out, we plugged everything in, now we need to simplify. And simplifying is the easy part. Okay, so we have 1 times x to the fourth is just x to the fourth. Then we have 4 x cubed times -3, so I'll multiply that the next time. Then we have 6 x squared, and then whatever -3 squared is, and -3 squared is 9. Then we have 4x, and -3 cubed, which is -27. And then we have -3 to the fourth power, which is 81. So now I'll put those numbers together and we'll get our final answer. 4 times -3 is -12. 6 times 9 is 54. 4 times -27 is -108, so I need to make that a negative. And then 81. And believe me when I tell you, that was much, much, much faster than multiplying all of those out. Let's do that one more time. So we have our 2y plus 4 cubed. So our a is 2y, and our b is 4. And that's a positive 4 because it came as a positive 4. And this time we're using this row. Okay, so we have to plug it in. So let's do our 2y plus 4 cubed equals, so the first number we have is 1a cubed. So our a is 2y, and that's cubed. The second number is a 3. We have a squared, so we have 2y squared, and then our b, which is 4. Then we have another 3, so plus our 3. This time we have 1a, so we have 2y, and our b is squared, so we have 4 squared. And then we have the number is 1, and we have a b cubed. So we take our b, which is 4, and we cube it. And now we start simplifying. So we have 2y cubed. Well, 2 cubed is 8, and y cubed is y cubed. Then we have 3. 2y squared is 4y squared, and a 4. And we'll multiply those in the next step. We have a 3, a 2y, and 4 squared is 16. And then we have a 64, because that's 4 cubed. So now we'll multiply everything together. We get 8y cubed. 3 times 4 times 4 is 48. If you don't believe me, go stick it into a calculator. 3 times 2 times 16 is 96y. And then we have 64. And that is it. That is our answer. And this video is over. Have a wonderful day.